Hey guys, it's Sean here to introduce you to a bonus episode of ReelBlend in which Kevin and Jake got a chance to sit down with actress Kaitlyn Dever, who has a new movie coming out called Ticket to Paradise. This one stars Julia Roberts and George Clooney, but Kaitlyn plays the daughter that sort of triggers the plot forward because as she's getting married in a fantastic destination wedding, her parents, played by Roberts and Clooney, are showing up to try to interfere as much as possible because they don't think she should be getting married. Now, Kaitlyn Dever's been on people's radars for a while. Obviously, she was a huge standout in Booksmart, but she's had some tremendous roles on television. And it's just a totally charming interview here. The guys got to do it in person. They went out to Los Angeles, did the Ticket to Paradise junket. And as a part of this, Kaitlyn Dever was able to be on the show. So without further ado, this is a bonus episode of ReelBlend, an interview with Kaitlyn Dever on behalf of Universal's Ticket to Paradise.
So good to see you.
It's good to see you.
I'm going to first of all start us off because when you're working with someone like George Clooney and Julia Roberts, we're all film fans here,
right?
And you kind of just want to do a deep dive into their filmography. But obviously, you're a colleague. Like you want to be a professional, you want to be an actor, and you don't want to fan out. But what was the nerdiest question you allowed yourself to ask whenever you had downtime? Like, did you get in a Pretty Woman question? Did you ask about From Dusk Till Dawn? Like, how far back do you go?
I mean, I don't think I did. I absolutely not, actually. I feel like I was just trying to keep my cool the whole time, you know? Like, meeting the both of them is such it's an intense situation. I mean, they're two people that, I mean, you think of like the greatest actors of all time. They're like the people you think of, right? So, and also I always think about this, but having just one of them or being with just one of them in a movie is a lot, but sure. Then both of them at the same time is just kind of
they're your parents,
and they're also casually my parents.
It would be like if Pacino and De Niro were your parents for a movie,
right?
And I would see that movie, by the way.
That would be amazing, but
me too.
But I mean, what's so cool about the both of them is that they're so giving and caring on set. They are so like, they're really, I mean, again, you have no idea what that kind of situation is going to be like. These are like, you know, again, it's a really big deal to be working with these two people, and they're people I've admired for so long. And obviously I'm a huge fan of all of their work, but I think being in this sort of setting, and it just felt very casual. Everything felt very relaxed. And there were moments that I definitely, you know, I feel like it went up and down all the time. Like all of a sudden I was like, yeah, this is a chill vibe. I'm cool. This is great. Julia's here. George is here. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I'm in a movie with George Clooney and Julia Roberts. And then it would go up and down. But I think in general, they just made me feel so at ease. And I guess, so I didn't ever feel like, not that I didn't want to ask them any questions or I felt like I didn't want to, I just felt like I was learning so much just being in their presence. And
could have, is there any nerdy that you would just love as a film fan to ask them about?
I'd love to know about Ocean's 11 because come on, that is a great film. And
it's an actually perfect film. Like the script, the editing, the direction.
Is it weird that I love 12? I like when she plays the character playing.
Oh, right.
Julia
12
Roberts.
is great too. Right. That's actually pretty great too. But yeah, I mean, Julia specifically, we got really close. She actually felt really like has such a motherly figure.
You can tell on
like
camera,
quality.
it's there.
Yeah, it really, there's something so comforting about her. And she was immediately just welcomed me, and my sister was out in Australia with me. So she welcomed the both of us in, and we had lunch together, and Julia just we got really close, which is really, it's really special, actually. But I mean, Ocean's 11 is a perfect movie. I just recently watched it, actually right before I was about to work with them, just to make things better for myself mentally. And it truly is like it's one of those films that makes you like sit on the edge of your seat, and you've seen it, 20 times, and it's just it's a perfect film.
It is.
And Soderbergh, I mean, the way that movie's edited and shot and scored is just absolutely incredible.
It's perfect. The score and the music and everything. It's insane.
There's a great scene early in the film where Julia and George get on a plane, and there's an actress who tries to speak with him, and he goes into an Italian accent to try and kind of say, I don't want to talk, basically. I find that interesting because I think everybody has their own tricks on what they do if someone tries to talk to you on a plane, not just actors or just in general. If you're sitting down next to somebody, I'll put my headphones in just to kind of like pretend like I'm busy.
Right.
What do you do if someone like tries to talk to you on a plane? Not even if like, they're asking you as an actor, but just in general. Do you have tricks for that?
Do I have a trick to not? I'm usually really bad at it, actually.
I feel bad.
That is not my thing, actually. I'm so bad at, even though I'm like, if I'm tired or something, if I don't want to, I'm really bad at not having a full-on conversation. It's like I have a lot of my dad in me. My dad can just talk and talk and talk and talk to strangers, and it's really a nice thing.
Worst place to try to have a conversation because you have to like talk a little bit louder than you
right. Yeah, exactly. Actually, I get into conversations with people all the time, and like I'm like, well, this is nice, you know. I'm like, am I tired? And did I necessarily want to have a conversation? Maybe not, but like this is nice. I'm always kind of glad that I didn't shut it down. Right. But I don't have any tricks. No, I'm the worst at that.
I feel bad. I feel bad when I do it, but I'm like, sometimes you just want to sleep.
Right.
You know, you're like held hostage because it's like you can't go anywhere. Right, you're stuck in the tube for like 4 hours. There's nothing you can do.
Right.
Yeah.
There are a handful of questions at junkets that we like to make fun of just because they're the most like generic junket questions of all like what attracted you to the role. And, you know, and one of them that we make fun of is like, oh, were there any pranks on set? Like, it's just like an old school classic junket question we make fun of. That being said, when you're in a movie with someone like George Clooney, who is infamous for pulling pranks, there's actually a great prank that someone else pulls in the blooper reel that we won't ruin. I hate from the bottom of my soul that I'm asking you this question, but were there any really fun George Clooney pranks on set?
So I have gotten the George Clooney prank question.
See, I knew it.
I'm just going to put that out there. I have gotten that question a lot.
We failed you. Yeah. We failed you.
No, you have not. And honestly, I feel like I failed you because my answer isn't as George. He would do little things here and there on set, and it was kind of sprinkled around. But I think he's doing, and maybe like he has children, small children. They're like little kids, and so I think the level of pranks he was doing maybe were like at that level. Like one time, like he like stole one of the hair and makeup department's like spray bottles, and like he was going around and like sneezing really loudly and then spraying the spray bottle on the person and say, right, it's kind of a dad thing. So that's really all the pranks I got on from George. But then Lucas Bravo, the incredible Lucas Bravo in this movie, he actually decided to prank George,
which is in the bloopers, right? Is that scene you're talking about in the bloopers?
Okay, you mentioned the bloopers. I haven't actually seen the bloopers because
I'll just say it's Batman related.
Oh, maybe. Oh, wait. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, that's even better then. Then we want. I think I for you. What
or maybe
you
I think about? I do. I think I do know what you're talking about. Wait. So
this is.
I haven't. No, I actually haven't seen the bloopers just because when I like first got the link to see the movie, it didn't have that yet, and it was like a nice surprise that everybody was talking about. But then at the premiere, I had to leave. We all left a little bit early during the credits, and so I didn't actually get to see because we had like a Q&A afterwards or something. But so I haven't actually seen the bloopers, but I imagine they're great because we just had the best time on this movie. But no, Lucas, I think I know what you're talking about, the Batman thing. But no, what a prank that I witnessed was Lucas decided we were shooting in this like island, like we were in this hotel on the island we were shooting on, and we had like kind of like a holding area, kind of hair and makeup set up in the business center of this hotel. So there's all these computers sitting there, and Lucas decided to hack all of the computers and put every single one of George Clooney's Sexiest Man Alive covers on the computers so that when George would walk in, he would see all of these computers sitting there with his face. And that was pretty good. We immediately ratted him out. Immediately.
That's actually a great prank.
I would love to see video of that.
And George also he's known for like the long game. So he could be in the middle of a prank with you right now and you not even know it.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true. You know, you never know when it's coming.
I absolutely loved you in Booksmart.
Oh,
it was the
thanks.
performance that I was like, she's incredible in this. I can't wait to see what you do next. And that performance was amazing. I was just wondering like what you learned on that film, like what Olivia taught you in terms of like as a director that you were able to kind of continue using. Like, is there anything specific in this film that you go, oh, I learned that on Booksmart, so it helped me here?
Yeah. Booksmart is I'm so happy with the response it just continues to get, that film, because it holds such a special place in my heart. And it was such a really, like, it felt like we were like full on summer camp. It really felt like we were all coming together, making something that just was so much fun. And I think there was so many things I learned from Olivia, but I mean, I think the main takeaway from that movie is that when you're having a good time on a movie, and you really make sure, and it starts from, you know, really Olivia, when you're having a good time and you're really making sure that everyone is feeling good and feeling comfortable, that really shows through on screen. And so I think in every single frame of that movie, there's something so exciting, because we were all so excited to be there and so happy to be there. And like, yeah, we were shooting like more than half of that movie was done at like 3:00 in the morning. We were all night shoots on that film. We were still having the best time. And so I think that the energy on set really does make a difference. And so I've really thought about that on, you know, the projects I've done after. But I think also just like in general, with all of us, really, she really allowed us to have a voice and to encourage us to use our voice and to use what we came to the project with, and feel comfortable and open and expressing the way we feel. And she was always open to trying things, which is really important for that kind of like actor director collaboration, and the rest of the crew too. So I mean, it was a really special time for all of us on that movie.
It was a great movie. Yeah.
Have you seen Don't Worry, Darling yet?
Yes.
What did you think?
It's amazing.
I thought it was incredible
so proud
too.
Of her.
Thank you.
I actually really like Don't Worry, Darling.
Oh my God, I'm
performance
so
was amazing.
Florence is. I mean, everybody in that film. I just ran into Gemma. And I ran into her in Paris, and I was just like gushing about her performance.
That's the coolest sentence in the world, by the way.
Yeah.
I realized as I was saying it, I was like, I ran into her in Paris, but I was in Paris and I did run into her.
Clooney and Julia Roberts.
No,
Do you
I'm
go to
so
the theater
proud
to
of
see
them.
it? Like, did we?
Oh, of course. I mean, we gotta keep going to the theater.
Same.
It's my favorite thing
Yes.
to do.
Thank
Does anyone like when you go to a theater, like a normal person? Like, does anyone like go? Wait, this I know. Like, are you able to just straight up walk into a movie theater?
Yeah, I totally can. I also, I mean, I think the only time that maybe I couldn't was I was seeing Booksmart in theaters so much when it came out in theaters, because I was just so excited that it was in the movie theater.
Wait, were you like Sharon Tate in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when she walked up to the theater and bought a ticket to her own movie?
Yeah.
Like, did the cashier go, "You're in this"?
No. Like, here,
You're on
here
the
you go.
poster.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, no, I went so many times in the theater to see.
What was that like to see like to actually see an audience react to something you did? I mean, I know that's like something that you could. I mean, anything you do, you'll eventually be able to see that. But like,
Right.
Was there a certain scene in Booksmart that like you were excited for audiences to watch and just kind of hear how they reacted to
And
it?
did anyone recognize you while you were there?
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of times. I think a couple of times. But it was so cool to just be there. But yeah, I mean, there's so many moments in Booksmart that, you know, in the moment you're like, is this, you know, I grew up on a sitcom, and like it makes me kind of think about the sort of immediate reaction we got when we'd do a live taping. And when we did a live taping and we'd test out these jokes and like no one would laugh at it, we got to change it really quickly, and then we'd get a funnier joke in the show. And with that, you know, with a movie, you kind of just, you're putting something with everything really, except for that kind of like live taping aspect. You really don't know how people are going to react, how, you know, if people are going to understand what you're trying to make. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to sit, and specifically watching Booksmart. It's people connected with it immediately. You could tell people felt really seen by it. People were understanding the jokes, like, and there were some things that like surprised you. There were certain scenes that, but there's like laughter consistently through I remember when I first saw it at South by Southwest, when we premiered the movie for the first time, it was the most like electric crowd I've ever been in. And it was the best thing in the world. So yeah. And then also you can actually feel when there's like emotional connection too, that you can feel like, you know, people tearing up and there's sniffles in the crowd. And that's such that you can't get that at home and watching it on TV.
100%.
So yeah, it's nice.
You know, we were talking about the blooper reel, which I know you have not seen yet, but whenever it did pop up, my first thought was, and it's one of the things they're talking about a lot with this movie, is there's just a lot of aspects of this movie that it's such a cliche, but like they don't make anymore. And I was thinking about the blooper reel, and it reminded me of like when Rush Hour came out in the 90s, and like when Liar, like all the great Jim Carrey, like what is it about? Like, don't you sort of wish those would come back in a way, like the 90s blooper reels, like all those movies that we all grew up watching? Isn't there a part of you that's just like, why don't they make? Because all the movies we're talking about were massive hits.
I know. Well, I think that there has been a certain craving for it. And I mean, I certainly have wanted to see a movie like this in theaters. And I grew up on all of those like rom-com classics, and especially, you know, the ones with the bloopers at the end. It's like you don't see that really anymore. And I think it's such a great way to like, I don't know, bring it back around and just to remind everybody that like, yeah, we had a great time making this movie, and this is a movie, but you know, there's something really special about it. And I remember them talking about wanting to do a blooper, and George really wanted it. George, I think
like you guys kind of knew this was a thing that was going to happen.
I think, you know, there were so many bloopers and mess ups and giggles and laughs that George, at a certain point, we really started. I think it was George he was really advocating for the bloopers.
Because then there's the pressure of like, okay, I need to be good. I got to make the blooper reel. Because you don't want to be the one person that's not in the blooper reel whenever it's done.
Am I in it?
You're in it.
Oh yeah,
cool.
yeah, you're definitely in it.
Yeah, you're in it.
There's a really phenomenal monologue that George gives early in the film, like at the bar. I think he's with Billy Lord in that scene, and he's talking about this idea of like, when my kids are up, that's when I'm the most scared, because like, you know, you're waiting whether or not they're going to fall. You don't want them to fall down. I just wonder, like, playing somebody who's the daughter of these parents, does it give you at all an appreciation for your own parents in a way? Like, when you like, did it give you? You're playing a role. It's acting, but does it give you a deeper appreciation into your parents as well when you kind of act it out in a film like this?
Yeah, I think so. I think with everything that I do, I always it's really cool. I learn a lot about acting and a lot about how I want to be as an actor, but I think I also really learn a lot about myself as a person through this work. And I love that part of it. It's one of my favorite parts. I think what I learned on this one was just that, like, yes, they're trying to stop her from doing this mistake that they made at the same age. And I think that while, you know, I'm sort of like, my character is sort of rejecting it and sort of sees it as this like really bad thing, and how could they lie to me this way? And all of that is, yes, very valid. And there's a lot of like conflict and a lot to work out there. But I think it's all kind of underneath all of that. There's love there, and it's all out of like, you know, I only care about it because I care about them, and I've always cared about what they think, and I've always wanted to make them proud and make them happy. And I think the same way for them. I think they just want the best for me because they love Lily. So I think about that with my parents. I think it really makes you think about, you know, your relationships with your family in general, just like maybe being more gentle with each other. I don't know. I think I think I quickly understood, and All's writing is the director. He's just incredible. Yeah. He has a way of writing that you can still see and recognize the love there. And I think that that's very clear in their relationship for sure.
We're going to cut you loose on this. There's a great moment in the movie where Georgia calls Dave, or David calls Georgia, and him pops up on her. That's how she has him saved in the movie, is him on her phone, which I thought was genius. Do you have George and Julia in your phone, and what are they saved as if they're in there?
Julia is just saved as Julia.
Julia
Wait,
Roberts'
does this
number
say
in your
Julia
phone.
Roberts when she calls?
Yes.
Do you have a picture assigned?
No, I don't. I feel like Julia Roberts and your phone is
Crazy.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. It immediately didn't feel like that crazy though. It did like going into it, and I
Does she
had
offer
met
you the
her.
number? How does that happen? Like does it come like does it happen naturally?
And how do we get it to happen for us?
Yeah.
So I think I remember I met her, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's such an angelic sort of person. She's such a bright light. And I met George at the same time, and he's just so great. And the two of them together are just like, their friendship too is awesome. Being in that, like, surrounded by their energy and their banter, and George loves making her laugh. He loves making everybody laugh, but he especially likes making Julia laugh, and you can tell that's the best. And after I had met Julia, I remember all texted me and said, Julia would like your number because she would like to hang out with you. And I was like,
That's amazing.
yeah. And she had me and my sister over for lunch, and we continued to text and hang out. And and she still like sends me sweet messages every now and then, and it's really nice.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, we are unfortunately out of time. You're stuck with us a little bit later on this afternoon, but seriously, thank you
Great.
for
I'd love to see you
joining us.
again.
You were so fantastic, and we really love you. And hopefully, this is the first of many times you'll come on the podcast.
Oh my God. Thank you for having me. This has been
Thank you so much to Kaitlyn Dever for coming on the show, and to our good friends at Universal for setting that up. And make sure you guys go out and check out Ticket to Paradise to see just how charming Julia Roberts and George Clooney are able to be in person. And of course, we always love getting actors on the show, talking more about their process and getting into the types of films that they're choosing and the roles that they're going after. So hopefully we'll get a few more really exciting opportunities to speak to some cast members for some of the big projects that are heading out from here till the end of the year. We'll be back on Friday, of course, with a full episode of ReelBlend, and then a bonus episode for our premium subscribers on Monday. If you want more details about how to sign up for premium, check the description of where you are watching this right now. And if you're on the YouTube channel, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications, and we'll meet you back here next time we have a new video to drop.